Welcome back, everyone, to the Fordham Women's Basketball pregame show alongside Sam Davis. I'm Thomas Aiello. We're pleased to be joined today by Sarah Karpell, a junior guard on the Fordham women's team. Sarah, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk to us today.
Thank you for having me. Thanks.
Yeah, of course. So I guess we're going to get started right away here. I'll jump right into you had just come off of a COVID vacation, if you will, and you had to sit on the sidelines watching the team perform. And you had just come back against VCU, which was your last game, which was a 54-48 win. I want to know, what do you do to stay in shape during those little COVID quarantines, if you will? Like, do they give you a bicycle or like a what's the Peloton? The Peloton. Do they give you anything like that to stay in shape? Like, what's the deal?
No, not really, actually. I really didn't do much. Um, yeah, I wasn't allowed to leave my room or anything, so I didn't really work out or anything, which was obviously weird and hard. But I had a couple practices before the game to kind of get back into it, which definitely was helpful.
Yeah, Sarah, going off that time that you were away from the team, kind of how difficult was that to just watch the team from afar? Obviously, I'm sure you were dying to be out there with them, especially with the start of A10 play. So how difficult was that to be away from them during that time?
Yeah, it was definitely hard. I mean, I was in my room literally watching our team play, which was first of all weird.
Yeah.
And then second of all, the LaSalle game obviously didn't go our way, and I just wanted so badly to be out there and to be able to help. And the George Mason game, obviously we won, which was awesome, but same thing, I just missed being out there, missed being with the team. So it was hard, but I'm glad they got the win against George Mason and we can continue on now.
So you also want to talk about this road trip, George Mason, VCU. You came back versus VCU, and that's one of the better teams in the Atlantic 10. So making your debut off of quarantine, playing against a team like that, what was kind of going through your head when you first stepped onto the court for the first time in about a week?
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely a little bit nervous before the game. I was like, I really hope I'm not winded. I hope I'm not so tired. But it went well. I knew I was guarding Taya Robinson, number one, who was their best player. So really, my job there was to just do as good a job on her as I could, and that was really my mindset in the game.
You mentioned guarding the best player right there. That's kind of a role that you have with this team a lot, guarding, one of the best offensive players for your opponent, as well as kind of taking the ball up and having that ball security late in games, which has been really important for you guys playing in those close games, especially in the fourth quarter. So how much pride do you take in those roles that you have with the team and ball security and really guarding the best offensive player on defense? How important is that for you to provide to the team?
That is the most important thing to me. That is my role, is to play defense and take care of the ball, get us into offense. So my coaches aren't expecting me to go out there and score any points, if at all. So just playing into that role and being able to do it to my best that's what I take pride in the most. So
Sarah, I want to go a little bit to your defensive skills. We had our preseason Zoom with Coach Gately, and she described you as a very detail-oriented player on that side of the floor. What are some of the minute things that you think about when you're playing defense that you make sure you have to do, and what are some of the ways you keep those in check in a practice or going over film?
right. I mean, obviously the girls that we're playing against in the A10, they're quick, they're fast, they're athletic. So really just focusing on keeping people in front of me is my main focus. And then just communicating with my teammates is something that obviously helps a lot too.
Sarah, you have, had kind of both experience starting games, but also coming off the bench. So I'm just curious, does the mindset change at all? Or what is your mindset this year when you're coming off the bench versus starting a game? Obviously, you started one game this year as well,
Yeah.
but kind of how does that mindset change?
It's really not a different mindset. I have pretty much the same role whether I start or I come off the bench, but coming off the bench, obviously it's a bit different. So just being able to give whoever it is a break and do what I can while I'm out there, give some new energy off the bench is something I try to do.
Now, Sarah, you talk about obviously, or Sam brings up starting for your first 2 years and then coming off the bench now as a junior. And you also are in a position of leadership. You're a junior and you have a lot of freshmen on this team. How do you kind of guide them, giving them any sort of advice saying, hey, try this, or if they're at that position, do that? What's the one thing you'd like to go to when trying to help out some of the younger players on the team?
Right. And obviously as a point guard, I have that leadership role as well. So just being able to help them, whether it be knowing the plays, going over them after practice, before practice, or just being able to give them advice. I mean, obviously I'm a junior now, so I know like what a coach means when they say something, and just being able to help out those younger girls is something that I enjoy, and just being able to help them in any way that I can.
I kind of want to go off what Thomas said right there, because being on the team, being with the team on the trip to Virginia, I kind of saw, and Coach Gately talked about it as well, player-led accountability and how important that is for your group, how important that is for any good team, especially in the A-10 conference. So just talk to me about that. How important is that for your group to, get on other players when the time comes, when you need them to really step up, or having those leaders like you just talked about?
Yeah, Coach says it all the time. When Coach tells us something, obviously it means a lot, but for some reason it means way more when it comes from one of your teammates.
Yeah.
It's more personal, and it's more, okay, this person's telling me this thing, I really need to do it because they're my teammate and I care for them and I want to do what's best for the team. And it means more, honestly, coming from a player than it does a coach, because they're in the same position as you.
So now I want to go off of Sam a little bit here even more. Who have you taken under your wing the most this season? It can really be anyone. Like, who have you kind of guided the most?
I'd probably say Sophie Sabino. She's a freshman. She's a redshirt. She's a point guard. So she has been experiencing a lot of the things that I experienced as a freshman. So just being able to help her with whatever it may be, advice or knowing the plays, or if she's going through a hard time, just being able to reach out and be there for her, as I've been in those same positions.
Sarah, earlier you mentioned that loss to LaSalle. Obviously, you were watching that game, and that was, the first loss at home in a really long time for this group. So how important is, and how comfortable do you guys feel really playing in the Rose Hill Gym, playing at home, especially for conference games? How important is that?
Yeah, it's definitely so important. I mean, playing on the road is so hard. Everyone would rather be in their home gym. And something about being in the gym where you practice every single day, it's way more comfortable, so much almost easier, and almost makes us more confident going into any game that we have at home.
So I want to jump off of that as well. Playing in the gym, obviously there's no fans right now. Mm-hmm. What do they mean to you guys when they show up and they're just yelling and screaming at the top of their lungs versus almost like a desolate place, if you will, at the moment?
Right. I mean, it's awesome, obviously, when we have fans, just when we score a basket and people are cheering. I know when we go on the road and we're playing at a place that has a bunch of fans, when the other team scores a basket and everyone's going crazy, it's not a great feeling being the opposing team. So obviously that's really helpful. And then obviously having my parents being able to come to the games is always nice, being able to look up at them. So not having fans, it hurts a little bit, honestly.
Fordham, and you guys, I'm sure you guys know this, so I hate to remind you, but you've had trouble finishing games at times, and in the fourth quarter you came out really strong early on in the game, and luckily you've built up leads where you can hold on. That was the case in George Mason and VCU. I'm just curious, what really is the reasoning behind that? Do you guys have a specific thing that you feel like that you have struggled with in the fourth quarter, or is it harder to kind of find one specific instance?
I don't really know that there is a reason. That's something we're obviously trying to work on. So it's a big thing that we've been emphasizing in practice, like towards the end of practice, like we need to finish strong because we haven't been doing the great job of that in games, obviously. So there really is no known reason for that yet, but it's something that we're really emphasizing and trying to get better with.
Junior guard Sarah Karpell taking her time out of her day to talk with us. Sarah, thank you so much. Good luck in the game, and go Rams.
Thank you.